Good afternoon, Miss. We are Janis Escobar and Javiera Bascuñan, and we are going to present to you our academic poster about the analysis of Adele's interview and Ushi. My classmate is going to present to you the first part of this academic poster.
The background. The interview is made in Amsterdam due to the Heineken Music Festival where Adele, the famous British singer, was being part of. Adele was interviewed by Ushi Hirosaki, a stereotyped Japanese interviewer who made nonsense and silly questions, and her English is not really good, and is personified by Dutch actress Wendy van Dijk, something that Adele does not know because it is a prank interview. In this interview, they talked about Adele's life and her music, but due to the bad English that the interviewer has, the conversation is constantly interrupted since both do not understand what the other one is saying. And in consequence, this leads to misunderstandings and a not so fluent conversation. Here you can see Adele and Ushi Hirosaki, who is personified by Wendy van Dijk. Building task affected. Of the seven building tasks, the main one that was affected was science systems and knowledge, because it's completely obvious that there is a problem in the communication and difficulties in the language and the speech, that in this case is English. Even though the interviewer is pretending to be a Japanese that do not fully understand English and can barely speak it, the communication is kept being interrupted, and in consequence, there is a problem in how the context influenced the meaning in a conversation.
About the science system and knowledge, it is stated that a language can favor one language or sign system over others. And this is the case because Adele's English predominates and is being in favor over the little and almost non-existent English of the interviewer.
And even though she is pretending to not speak English or speak only in a basic level of this language and speak in monosyllables. The evidence that we found through the whole video is that there are multiple evidence of interruptions, misunderstandings, etc. That does not keep the flow of the conversation. And it is when Adele does not understand what Ushi said when the negotiation of meaning begins, and because of that, we choose to study the pragmatics area in this interview. Because according to Ohio State's 2016, pragmatics is the study of the ways people use language in actual conversations. Pragmatists study both how context helps to determine whether a particular utterance is appropriate or inappropriate, as well as how changes to context alter sentence meanings. Page 274. Pragmatics versus semantics. In the minute 153, here Adele tries to give synonyms in order to make it easy to understand for Ushi. Adele tries to keep the conversation flow. For example, in the transcription of this or what they are speaking, Adele says, "It was like amazing, ridiculous." So Anushi says, "Sorry, what is meaning of ridiculous?" Adele says, outrageous like a dream." So you can see there that she's giving synonyms. And we notice too that through all the video, Adele makes gestures with her hands to make her speech easier to understand. In the minute 1.01, Adele explains that she took a plane, but she flew over Japan but never been there. The interviewer understands that she visited Tokyo, Japan, but Adele keeps saying that I didn't go. I mean to go to Tokyo, but I didn't go.
Another aspect that we have to keep in mind is that in this interview, Adele is constantly trying to make herself clear instead of Ushi, because when Adele doesn't understand Ushi, she tries to keep the rhythm and the smooth of the conversation, but instead Ushi is like, okay, keep moving on, and pass to other question. She doesn't try to make herself clear. And in the 40 seconds, we have that the difference between pragmatics and semantics, because Ushi, the interviewer, understand she understands some words like Tokyo, flew, and fly, but she doesn't understand the whole context of the sentence of Adele. In conclusion, we can say that pragmatics in our daily life is really important, because and it's essential, because if one of the speaker or listener doesn't understand what the other is saying, there is no sense of keep a conversation. There must be an understanding of what the other is saying in order to have an exchange of ideas or arguments. So the other thing that we conclude is that pragmatics is more important than semantics, because we need to know the context of the conversation that we are having, instead of instead of knowing the meaning of single words that doesn't have a whole context and doesn't mean anything without a context. And our reference, we have the interview, the link of the interview, Adele and Ushi, and we use the book of Ohio State in the chapter number 7, Pragmatics. Um, that was our presentation.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Miss.